Good day traders, welcome to today's video. My name is Wesley Govender. Thank you very much for joining me. Let's start today on the USD Canadian dollar 4-hour chart. Now as you can see on the screen, by now the writing is pretty much on the wall. Any hopes that we had of entering the market with a sell trade have completely come to an end. Now if you recall yesterday, we were roughly at this area where you see the red vertical line. And we discussed that if price were to continue moving higher and break out of these swing highs, it would bring an end to our signal for a sell trade. We also were looking at the current candle going on to form a new swing low. And as you can see, this swing low is higher than the previous swing low down here, which we were using for our entry. Now that would have been the first sign that price was starting to move higher. And by the time this candle had closed over here in this region, as soon as the candle closed, we would have had a new higher high. We would have had a new higher swing low, and at that point we would have known that any hopes of entering the market with a sell trade would have been taken off the table completely. So at this point we would have cancelled our order and started looking for entries in the opposite direction. And as you can see, over the next couple of candles, price continued to move up, and there was at least 35 pips worth of movement towards the upside, so enough to take a couple of trades on the lower time frames. Now let's move over to the US dollar Japanese yen, and I'll show you how we could have been looking for potential trades on the lower time frames. Now if you recall, yesterday we had observed the equidistant channel that had been forming on the USDJPY currency pair, and as you can see, the channel has held firm. There was a breach in this area over here where price had moved up a little bit, and you can see over the course of the last few bars, price has moved back within the channel, and right now it has moved all the way from the upper channel trend line right down to the lower channel trend line. Now yesterday we were looking at price roughly in this region over here, and we were waiting for price to come up and touch the upper trend line. Now over here you can see we got our first touch of the upper trend line, and this is the point where we start to get the most excited. When we see price get up here to the trend line, touch the trend line, at this point we're starting to look for trades. Now let's just get a couple of lines in here, and we'll go through each of the potential trades as they happened. Now at this point, when price comes up over here and touches the upper trend line, some of the more aggressive traders out there are focusing on some of these higher lows. And you can see a number of different regions where we have higher lows. And as they start to bunch up and get a bit closer, these serve as excellent areas for us to look for entries towards the short side. And as you can see, over the next couple of candles, there was a breakout towards the short side. Some of the more aggressive traders would have gotten in at this point. Now on the other hand, the way we normally trade is we're looking for some of the safer entries. Now the best way for us to do that is to wait for entries below the new swing lows as price moves lower. Now as you can see, price reacted over here to the upper channel trend line, bounced off it, came down here and formed a new swing low. So for the more conservative traders, we'd have been looking for an entry towards the short side below the swing low here. Now unfortunately, as you can see, price did not fulfill the move all the way down to the lower equidistant channel at this point. It bounced upwards, okay, went back towards the upper channel trend line, went beyond it and formed a new swing high. Now at that point, or as soon as price got up above the upper channel trend line, we knew that any hope for a sell trade would have been over. Okay, so we would have cancelled the pending order at this point. And once we have a new swing high at this point above the upper channel trend line, it's a pretty good sign that price is going to continue moving upwards. Now once again, you can see how the price action has kept us out of a bad trade. At this point, we'd have been looking for potential trades towards the upside. We'd have been looking for price to break out above this level and to enter a buy trade. By looking for the breakout above the swing high, we've been prevented from a bad trade. As you can see, price has rejected this level, come back down, and over the course of these series of candles you see here, price has hugged the upper channel trend line. Now at this point, as soon as price comes back down over here, we know that price will usually find support and resistance at these levels or at the trend lines. You can see that price dips below and forms a new swing low. Now at this point, we could have been looking for potential entries towards the downside. But as you can see, over the course of the next couple of candles, price once again makes its way above the upper channel trend line. Now at this point, you may be getting a bit frustrated. Price may be moving you around a little bit, giving you some mixed signals, but take a look at exactly what's taking place here. If we were to insert a couple of trend lines, you'll notice something starting to take shape. Let's just change the color of this trend line. Now take a look at that. One of our favorite trading patterns. Over here you can see price is starting to form a triangle. And by the time we get up over here, at this point, price forms a new swing low as soon as this candle here closes. Okay, we have a triangle pattern that has formed. Now we know the way price behaves in a triangle. It normally ranges around between the upper and the lower triangle before it eventually breaks out. And from what we've seen in some of our previous videos and our previous trades, the best places to look for entries towards the short side is at the point C and point D. Now over here you can see our point C used to draw the lower trend line of this triangle. It presents us with an absolute killer trade. And as you can see over here, over the course of the next couple of candles, price breaks out of the triangle, returns inside the upper channel trend line, and then continues moving lower. So a conservative entry used over here, combination of the equidistant channel and a triangle pattern, gives us a killer entry here. Now you'll see the original target we were aiming for sell trades was at 101.900. We've hit that target, gone beyond it at this point, and I've inserted a couple more targets over here. Now you'll notice down here I've got one target set at 101.550. If price continues to move lower, you can see it looks like it may be forming a new swing low at this point here. We can look to target this level. However, if price starts to pull back and start moving higher on the lower time frames, we can look to target all the way up to 102.050 or up to the upper channel trend line. Okay, so that's just a quick roundup of how things went on the US dollar Japanese yen from the time we observed it yesterday. It did mess us around a little bit insofar as providing signals that we could not take advantage of right away, but when it did eventually produce a good signal, we were taken in all the way. Now, if you had missed the triangle pattern that had formed over here, you'll see you're still presented with an entry. As soon as price returns back inside the channel, it forms a new swing low at this point, and you can see you have another entry below the swing low. And you would have gotten in slightly later, but still the same result. So over the course of the next couple of hours, we can adopt the same strategy. Look to sell below the swing lows and look to buy above the swing highs. As always, let price action tell you where the market's going and look to get in the same direction. Now, before we go, let's go ahead and take a look at the Aussie dollar US dollar daily chart. And over here, you'll notice that I've marked up a couple of different areas. The first thing you'll notice is that I've got these white levels marked up here. The first one at 0.89350. Okay, and at this point, if price were to continue moving beyond this point here, we'd be looking at some good potential for buy trades, and we may look to target the area at 0.89750. Now, on the other hand, if price were to continue moving lower and go below the 0.88950 level, we may consider entering the market with a sell trade and look to target the area at 0.88500. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care and all the best.